We're rounding up. People may not like it. So what I'm saying in this session, taking responsibility. Our theme this year is taking responsibility for your purpose. So in the next 15 minutes, I want to drill you to be able to leave here with a move from within to take action. Are we following? You know, someone was just telling me that when Mr. Ezekiel was speaking, they felt insulted at many levels because they started a poetry in 2 years ago and then they just quit. They started here and they quit. So when he was talking and going around, it was like he was, you know, when somebody's beating you and then he's smashing you again and having fun. But the objective is that by the time you're leaving here, you've actually made a decision from that. Are we together? Okay. So quickly, I like this quote. We ended with here last year. I want you to think, do you have anyone in your life who is controlling your life? Maybe your parent, an uncle, an aunt, a sister, someone who you feel has a lot of grip on your life. You know, when they make their opinion has a tendency of surpassing your own opinion, and you felt like you would have loved to be free, or you would have loved to take your own path. Now, guess what? It's the same thing we talk about our country, right? You say there's one country up there that controls the policies down here. Well, this guy put it very well. He said, it is but normal that those who feed you should impose their will on you. So who is feeding you financially? Who is feeding you materially? Who is feeding you with ideas? There are people who don't think. You don't think about your life. You don't think about what you want. So people look at you and like, okay, let me think for you. Okay, since you don't know what to do, I advise you to do this. And then when you say no, you don't want to do it, you complain that they get offended. Why? Because you didn't think for yourself. And so it was but normal that they think for you. And if they think for you, they control your life. Are you getting that? So, one of the pioneers, you should know him, right? Well, you don't know him, please do your history. Yeah, Thomas Sankara, big African, Pan-Africanist. Okay, responsibility. 2 words, responding to your ability. Clear? Fast, 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 fast. We're good? Okay. Easy. Now follow. You understand. Okay, responsibility to respond, to make a response, to act in return, to react. We are already making the assumption that you already have an ability that you have to respond to. Is that so? Okay. So if you're lazy, it's because you want to be lazy. You have the ability, you just don't want to respond to. Ability is skill, talent, or capacity, quality of doing something. So here we are saying start responding to whatsoever you're capable of doing. If you're capable of doing 10,000, don't settle at 1,000 because everyone around you is at 500. You know, that's the tendency here. We look at our shoulders, look left, and see that everybody is down there, and we're like, wow, man, you see, I can relax because I'm right up here. You see that? But that is not enough. Okay? Now, responsibility, therefore, is acting in response to an already existing ability of demand. We can see that. Okay, so what's taking responsibility properly? It is the commitment to rise to the occasion, demand of your full potential. Okay? It is taking back the steering wheel of your life. Now, I like this one very much. Who is driving your life? Are you the one or is the system? Is it your boss at the office or the company you're working for? You feel like they own you because you have handed over the wheels to them. You have not taken responsibility. Okay? I always tell people, though it's offensive, I, as your employer, it's not my interest to make you rich. It's not my job. So don't be complaining that you're not well paid. It's nobody's business that you're not well paid. A job was never for money. If you want money, study money. Don't get a job. Is it going through? Or it's more offensive than it's going through? Okay. Getting rid of excusitis disease. You know, this disease is very common here in Africa. We have very good excuses. So we're going to look at it. If you don't take responsibility for your life, someone else will. If you don't decide what you want to do with your life, some people will decide for you. You may not like it. That's your business. But it's your fault, and you're responsible for that. Society was designed banking on you to be irresponsible, poor, and mediocre. If you're going to the bank to create an account, they tell you, well, the account you can create for your level, the maximum is 2.5. That means they're already telling you that the moment you enter, they saw you like your maximum money you can have is 2.5. I mean, 2.5 million, right? But you understand, meaning that it is designed banking on you to be lazy. Why? Because in experience, the people before you do not take responsibility, like our fathers. The problems in our land today, all of that, like I said, going back, if you go back in history, you see where it all started. And so they didn't take responsibility, we're facing the consequences. What about your children? Will they face the consequence of your irresponsibility? Outdated status quo will ruin and limit people's lives. Now, this is something. I was speaking with a young man, and he's here. I always tell people there is more than one way to get to where you want to go. You know, the reason why we don't take responsibility for our dreams, for the potentials in us, the purpose in us, is because we give excuses like, in Cameroon, to be a doctor is only through concours, or you pass, or you have an uncle who will buy your place. Who said that now you have bought a whole big vision of being a revolutionary in the medical field because you failed a competitive exam? I remember it's competitive exam, meaning that you don't necessarily pass or fail. You just have to be amongst the top they want. Do you understand that? So if they want 100, and 101 have 100 and 100, and your number 101, you're failed. So here you are changing the course of your destiny because you're limiting yourself to what the status quo has said. Are we saying that? Okay, 4 ways to take responsibility. Question the status quo. So he got to me. I remember when I was going to university and I applied for UB engineering school. I started beating. I mean, you know when you work with friends and then this one tells you, we are still waiting for the list. This one says, how many points? Then we're still studying points. This one says, I had 25 points. Your heart goes boom. You had just your 18 points. You're like, no, this one again, I had 24 points. This one, I had 23. So you're looking yourself right at 18 or 15. You're like, my man, I have no chance at this. So somebody started telling me, go and start reading the books in your computer. I was reading the books without school. And I was really learning. I was reading something I remember on reverse engineering. And it was so clear that I could start applying. But I asked myself, how can I just sit at home and read and then I come and say I'm an engineer without going to school? Why? Because the status quo has put it that way. Okay? Now, don't get me wrong. There are fields where you need to pass through a regularized system. You don't want to lie on your theater bed and then you hear the doctor say, nurse, bring that video that we saw on YouTube last night. How did they cut? You understand? So there are fields that demand a regularized system. But not every field, okay? It's your responsibility to take responsibility and check what are all the possible pathways in your field, not just the one that society has sold to you. Are we getting that? So he tells me he wanted to do software engineering and he did not get the concours. So he started learning on his own, worked on some few projects, and now he's working for companies abroad, earning big money. And he's a software engineer. Because in that field, when you stand and say you're a software engineer, they will not say, show us the certificate. They'll say, show us your portfolio of the works you have done. Are you getting that? Meanwhile, some of us have gone and spent 4 years. And we are out, we have no portfolio. Okay, some people 6. I don't know, you did 550. Not you, sorry, the people. Okay, masters. Okay, so decide today, when I take responsibility, to take your life back into your hands and start questioning everything around you. Don't settle for what is offered to you. You are the best. He said it here. We give the best to the best. You are the best. You have the potential to be the best. But then it won't just drop on you. You have to wake up and say, I deserve more, and start going out to get more. Okay? I noticed my friend Bomi, when sometime this year I was speaking with him about business. And just like he has provoked some people here, he actually also provoked me. And I started a venture that had been postponing since. Now, what's the thing? I noticed that we have this disease here where opportunities lie right beside us, but we don't take it. It's very common in Cameroon. Okay? Starting with trainings like this. Okay? We just look at it like they have to chew it, open our mouth, put it inside our mouth, cover it, put some water, and then dissect us to push it again through surgery. Means even to swallow, cannot swallow. So taking responsibility is waking up to take back the wheels of your life. Questioning, what are the dreams you threw in the dustbin because the status quo told you it was not possible? I want you to go and look into that dustbin and start removing them. You pick them back up and then you start checking what are the other possibilities of getting this thing done. Are we together? Because why? You have the ability. You're just not responding to that ability. The next thing you learn We said the deadliest virus in Cameroon, Africa, is not COVID-19, but ignorance. We already established that. You act, you take action, you unlearn. A very important one. My biggest challenge to some people is that they are unable to unlearn what they have already learned. Someone asked me, what's the most important skill you should learn in this 21st century? The skill I'll tell you is your capacity to learn what you need to learn per time. And for that to be possible, you have to unlearn the wrong things. Okay? An entrepreneur said, if they give you a job to fly a plane, don't say, I'm not going to fly school. Accept the job, go overnight and go and buy a book on how to fly planes. Read it overnight and show up at the office the next day. Say, okay, we are ready to start. That's how it works today. Okay? Why? Because we're going to see that. Okay. Irresponsibility. What's irresponsibility? Irresponsibility is us knowing what we need to do, but we don't do it. Of course. Procrastination. Many of us are guilty about that, right? I'm watching a season, I'm like, one more episode, please. Just one more episode. Then I realize I'm at the end of the season, right? Irresponsibility is complaining about everything around you and you're not doing anything. And then once you not just complain about not doing anything, you start complaining about those who are doing something. You see, he's not even doing it well. She cannot even sing well in the choir, but you're not in the choir. You're coaching people who are singing. You see that? That's irresponsibility. All you do is sit and frown and complain. The country has gone up, the country has gone down. You see that? That's irresponsibility. Irresponsibility is, do you know that guy? What name can you call him? What comes to your mind when you look at that? Okay, Okay, Satan, the devil. Okay, irresponsibility is making this guy cry every time. Why? Because you fail to do what you have to do and then you blame it on him. Right? Why did you cheat? It's not my fault. See that? It's the devil's work. Okay? Why did you not study? Why did you fail your exam? It's the devil. You know, in Africa, that's our biggest problem today because we can push our irresponsibility to something abstract, spirits and demons that we cannot touch. Have you ever seen a demon? So why do you keep saying it's a demon's fault? And then the guy is out there crying. They're always blaming everything on me. They will not do their work. They will blame it on me. Okay. Irresponsibility, we have seen this. Okay. It's thinking this is a religion. You have to hang around and just follow routines. You don't even understand why. If you don't know why you go to church or follow God or have a relationship with God, you should question it. And if you don't have a good reason, I beg, don't be doing what you don't understand. Because they said, he who doesn't read is not different from he who cannot read. Right? To go to school and study and then you don't read. All that money you spend, the guy who never even went to school, you are the same. Are you getting me? I hope you're not too offended. Okay. Why don't we take responsibility as we conclude? 5 reasons why we don't take responsibility. Number 1, self-deprecation. Are you an important person? We feel we are not important. We are not good enough. We don't deserve the best. Right? Because growing up, like I said, the society, the status quo built that into us. So we start feeling like to go after much is too much. We have even built a complex, of excellence to be vanity. When I see somebody has done something good, the only thing that comes to your mind is vanity upon vanity. But it will give you, you take. But it's vanity. Okay, ground kako. Heaven is the goal. Well, I'm not refusing that heaven is not the goal. But if you are the best, you have unlimited potential. Release that unlimited potential before you leave this place. Are we together? Get your priorities straight and no excuse. So self-deprecation, selling yourself short. I want to give you a challenge. If you're working somewhere and you've been scared of, getting a raise or doing something, wake up and go and say, okay, I feel like this 150 is more. I need 200. I need 500. But do it. The goal of doing it is to grow. To sell. Do you mean drive you like sack you? Really? They shouldn't be working there. Okay, because you deserve a right to say, okay, this is my work. If people cannot pay it, at least let me make it known to you that is how I'm selling myself. Because once we give those kind of excuses, that's why we don't take responsibility. Right? Excusitis. They'll drive me. They'll sack me. Okay? Another thing I was telling people, if you've never seen something like now, if you've never seen 10 million, feel free to go to the bank and say, what does 10 million look like? Does it mean they'll show you? Not necessarily. They can. You never know. Selling yourself short means drawing a conclusion when you have not even tried. right? I was speaking with someone, why are you not applying for jobs in Cameroon? You need to have an uncle and auntie. Have you gone there and they told you that who is your auntie? Stop drawing conclusions on what you have not experienced. That's self-deprecation. Another reason is self-doubt. Dr. J. Swell said, there are two people in our minds, Mr. Triumph, Mr. Defeat. You're the one to choose who will run your life. Mr. Triumph is the guy who believes you can do all things. And if you keep giving him the mic, he'll keep telling you, no. Remember that time when you almost failed that course, but you read all night and you passed? You'll be like, yeah. And then you get hope and you work. Mr. Defeat is, if you give him the mic, he starts telling you all the good reasons. You remember when you went for fashion parade, your cockroach broke and you fell or something broke, eh? Now you start feeling like, oh, that's true, I'm not so good. So you have to decide, taking responsibility, if I'm taking the wheels of my life and pursuing, who am I going to give the wheels to? Okay? And another reason is fear. Fear. Many of us, when we saw entrepreneurship, I wonder why you didn't even ask the reason why you have not started entrepreneurship. Many of us, fear. I'll lose my money, right? But then we'll just carry it and go and give it to Ponzi schemes every day. I don't know how we don't have fear for that one, but we have fear to raise fowls or do any other adventure. Now notice, some people fear taking a step. They always want another person to go and take a step for you. You know, they always want another person to give you the opportunity. But the only way to cure fear is action. Avoiding it, dodging it only nurtures and increases the fear. Guys, back in those days, you want to go and throw your corn to that sister, and you stand and you're calculating. If you calculate and go home, tomorrow it will be more difficult than just saying, any man for himself, God for we all. And you throw it, right? Okay. So inaction nurtures and fertilizes fear. What have you been postponing through inaction? Know that every single day you're just nurturing and increasing it. So the excusitis, the single most important thing to match your responsibility is curing your excusitis. I always tell my team, like we'll see here, no excuse is good enough. As long as you are still alive, it will give you a task to do. There's no excuse that is good enough. If they say that you have gone to heaven, amen, you will just know that there's nothing else we can do. So we have school excusitis. Many people here, you're students. Why have you not started a business? I'm a student. Why have you not started working? I'm a student. Why are you not doing this? I'm a student. Why are you not? One day, you'll be shocked. The excuse of a student will no longer be valid. But guess what? Cameroonians have become smart, I've realized. When that excuse is expiring, we renew it, right? Degree, tang, masters. Field experience, no. Masters, tang, PhD. You see that? We are hiding behind school because we don't want to take responsibility. We're looking for excuses. Is school bad? No. But be going to school while you're doing something. What have you done with the A level you have? Let's start there before we talk about the degree you have. But you keep piling, okay? Irresponsibility. Okay, age excusitis. I'm too young, I'm too old. We have here people of different ages. Don't come out and say that, oh, all that thing that they were saying, like, I've never reached the age. Let me wait. Or all that thing that I say is for those small children I saw there. You see that? No. There's no excuse. There's no gender, even the money excusitis. He said here that there are many things you can start without money. Or not much money. Time excusitis, I don't have time. We all have the same 24 hours. Others excusitis. We try to push our problems on others. I'm the way I'm like this because my father never took care of my mother. Huh? What's your business? Were you there when they were playing love? So any story they are narrating to you now, you were not there to verify it. Okay? Because when they were enjoying, you were not there. Don't put your mind in that. Your life now is yours. They just help bring you here. You have to start taking responsibility. So excuses are not deliverables. When I was doing internship, I got that. Excuses are not deliverables. If the one thing you can learn from here, excuses are not. You know what's deliverables? Deliverables are the expected results you have to deliver. Okay? If we want 1,000, bring us 1,000. Don't bring us 900 and an excuse. Excuses are not deliverables. Master this and you transform your life. Because excuses make us very comfortable. You know, it's because I have a child at home, so I cannot really engage. You know, it's because this thing happened. You know, if you keep finding excuses, you always have them. Taking responsibility means curing yourself of this disease and start taking action. So another reason is societal construct. Okay? As we conclude, you will come to realize that one of the slowest systems to transformation is the educational system. 40 years. Okay? Something like medicine takes 10 to 15 years, where a drug is discovered and tested over that period. Now technology changes almost every year or even monthly. Now what runs the world? Technology, right? Okay. So it means that many things you're learning now in school for the students, by the time you graduate, will be obsolete, useless. Okay? Another societal construct is that they have told you there is just one way to get there. I started with it. Stop limiting yourself to that idea that there is just one way or there is just their way. If you have the ability, you can respond and deliver the result. Are we together? Are you getting something? Or you're too offended? They sell arrow behind here. I can give discount. Are we following? So what are you to leave here and start doing? Taking responsibility for your purpose, no more excuses. What's buzzing like that? Okay. So, in conclusion, the question is, who is feeding you? And who is controlling your life? The person who is feeding you is thank you, social media. The new one, influencers. We like in Cameroon, on them the buzz. Whether we are going to wear with this kind of mindset, once we just hear that something happen, we are sharing it, what tape, original tape, old tape, new tape. We are just sharing. Who is feeding you? Who is controlling your life? Take back the wheels of your life as you live here. Start feeding yourself. Start taking responsibility for your bills and for everything. No excuses. No excuse is good enough. And I'm sure as we do that, we'll be able to achieve the success we dream and fulfill the purpose for which we were sent here. Are we together? Thank you very much. I think that was more than 20 minutes.